First Ave, Ken McDonald coming to you from Paris, Ontario. So good to be with you this morning on this beautiful, hot day here in Ontario, Canada. And I am privileged to be able to speak to you and share with you what God spoke to me from Acts chapter 10. And I really want us to just focus in on verse 34 because I believe this sums up what the whole chapter is talking about. And that is God doesn't show favoritism. Or as the NLT puts it, God doesn't show partiality. And so here the chapter opens with two men. We have Cornelius, who was part of the Roman army, and then we have Peter, who's in a different town, and God speaks to both of them. God sends an angel to Cornelius and then speaks to Peter in a vision, and both are perplexed by what God has spoken to them, but they both followed through with what God told them to do. Cornelius was told by the angel to send people to get Peter, and then Peter had this vision. 3 times this vision came to him before he actually got the message, and I find it quite ironic that it seems like things come in threes for Peter. The crowing and denying Christ 3 times, and then God asked him, how much you love me? 3 times, and now this vision 3 times. But Peter got the message that what God called holy, he did not have to call unholy or unclean. And so we want to understand and just focus in on this because it was time for Peter to bring the good news to the Gentile family. 2 things I learned from this passage that really spoke to my heart. Number 1, and I hope it encourages you, the gospel extends even to outsiders. And number 2, God's command to Peter was no doubt uncomfortable, yet he obeyed. And so what has God told you to do that may require you to go outside your comfort zone? Because imagine Peter, like he only knows what he knows, and yet God's telling him to go out of his comfort zone to go do something. And he does it. I'm sure it was difficult, but he went beyond his borders of understanding and trusted in what God said. And if he hadn't, that whole family wouldn't have heard the gospel, and they wouldn't have seen the outpouring of the Holy Spirit in their lives. Remember, delayed obedience is still disobedience. So what is God speaking to you today about? What is that person you need to talk to, or the decision that you're trying to make that seems very uncomfortable to you? Remember, God, when he speaks to you, God ordains it. He makes the way. And if Peter hadn't done that, we wouldn't have seen the beautiful ending to this chapter. So I really hope this encourages you this morning. Remember, God's gospel extends even to outsiders, and God's command to Peter was no doubt uncomfortable, yet he obeyed. Whenever God's speaking to you today, obey him and follow through with God's plan. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Take care. Bye now.